Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to devverse. It has been a long time, guys. Like I've seen you, I've created any videos or uploaded anything. I was too busy in like some of my works, so I got the time today. And today we are going to build an amazing website using Tesseract.js with Next.js, right? What is Tesseract.js, right? Now, Tesseract.js is basically a package. Basically, you can say it is a type of AI library, which basically extracts the text from the image after processing the image, right? So let's get started with the project. Let me show you the demo first, which I have already built, and you can just try it out also, right? And it will be an open source project. Try to contribute, like follow my GitHub, and like there are certain processes I will be explaining to you, and then you can just contribute it. I will give you shout outs, right? So make sure to contribute, right? So let's get started. So here is the demo that I have built, right? So let's get started. It is basically a pretty much simple design. You can drag and drop your image, or you can just browse it. Let me just browse it. I'm just selecting this screenshot. Now the image is being processed. Let's wait for some time, and you can see it is pretty much fast, and you can see all the text that is been extracted from that image, and you can just copy the image, and if you can just paste it anywhere you want, right? Like this or like this, you can see. So we will be building this pretty much simple, right? And if you can just add more images to it, let's using this one, and you can see the second image has been added, right? Now you can like use authentication. You can use your local storage to store the history of this text, whatever you want, but it will be going to be a pretty much simple video. In this we'll be only focusing on tesseract part and building this UI, right? So let's get started. So now just open up your terminal, and let's create a folder that is mkdir, and that's going to be get text, or make sure to write it in small letters, right? You can just use a hyphen, right? Because we will be initializing this directory with Nextjs, right? And what I want to do is cd into the get text folder, and pretty much done, right? Now if you do ls, there is nothing. Now I will be using bun. Now if you don't know what is bun is, then let me tell you. It is basically a runtime which is an alternative to npm, yarn, and pnpm, which has been basically recently being very popular in the market, right? So you can just use it. It is literally an amazing tool, but I guess it is not for Windows. I think they have not built it for Windows till now. They're working on it. You can use a WSL with that, but it is for Linux, and for Mac it is available, right? So you can use, or if you are on like Windows, you can use yarn or npm as always, right? So I will be using bun create next app at the rate latest. I will be using, I think it is the Next.js 13, I think, and space dot, hit enter. Now obviously I will be using TypeScript with this. So yes, no, yes lint, yes tailwind css, yes source directory. I will be using the app router, yes, enter, and it will just quickly create, you know, all your configuration and all the files that you need for Next.js, right? In the meanwhile, let me show you basically the tesseract.js, right? Go to your browser and search for tesseract.js, and you're going to find this link. I will provide you this link in the description, right? You can see they have also given basically a demo right here. I think it is being loaded, right? Excuse me guys, and now you can see all the text part, right? You can see this is basically an image, and this is the text. You can select a file from this point. You can select a file from this point, and let's say I'm just selecting the same image, and you can see recognizing the text, initializing the APIs, and you can see the same text, right, that we have seen on this browser, on this page, right? The same thing. And this is what we're going to build, right? Click on the get started. Okay, let's see. Okay, basically our, you can see the Next.js project has been created. So what I will be doing is like ls, and you can see all the files right here. So I will be using VS Code. So just opening my VS Code right here, hit enter, code space dot, and let's see. You can see my VS Code like is being opened right here. So I'll be just opening this in full screen mode. and we are going to be working on our layout, but before that, let's create some more folder inside the source directory. So go to the source and right click, new folder is going to be components, and another is going to be the lib, right? Okay, this is basically a folder file. Okay, so inside the lib, we're going to basically create the code for the converter. There's the text, there's the image to text, and inside the components we will be building our header and footer and some cards, right? So open up here this page.js, this one, and just remove everything from here. Use a simple div, and then under div I'm writing like hello there, save it, and I will be starting the server, that is bundev. You can use yarn dev, right, if you are on Windows or like Mac, whatever you are using, right? But if you are using Mac or Linux, you can try this bun, right? Bun thing, it is amazing. Now let's open up our localhost, and you can see this hello there right at this point. So this is working. Now come to this, let's close this one and open this thing, right? Now open up the globals.css and let's remove these things. I just wanted the body should be in background black with a width of 100%, and the min height of my body is going to be 100 ph by default. Save it, and I want the WebKit basically scroll bar to be okay. It is the scroll bar, I want it to be hidden. The display should be hidden, so that the scroll bar, the scroll bar will be basically hidden, right? You can scroll, but the scroll bars is not going to show up, right? This is what I want to do, and this is done. Close this thing. Now we are going to be building the header part and other things, right? But let's first install some of the packages that we will be using at this point. The first one is basically the Tesseract.js. Obviously you can scroll down at this point, and here you can find this thing. So I'll be using this Tesseract.js, and I will be using the redirect method. It's going to be like bun add Tesseract.js, hit enter, and in the meanwhile I will be creating my basically some folders inside the components. That is going to be navigations, and inside this navigations I want to have my header dot tsx, right, array fce, and you can see this thing, we have a header, right? Now go to the lib, not lib, basically the app, open up the layout.tsx, and inside this thing what we're going to do is I'm going to import my header.tsx at this point, so it will be shown on every page, right? So it's basically the header. Close this thing, and I want to create a div where I will be displaying the children, right? Just like this. Now you can just come to this point and you can see the things. So you can see it is right there, but the color is in like black, so we cannot see that thing. So let make basically the color white, right? So here is the header, give it a class name, text is going to be white. You can see we are using Tailwind CSS, and it is perfectly working, right? You can similarly just copy this thing, go to the page.tsx right at this point, and you can just add this thing to this point, and you can see the things, right? Nice. Now you can see at this point we have our basically get text and basically a button, right? So let's do it quickly. Go to the header. I will be using div, and then this is going to be a flex box, so like w dash full flex justify between item is going to be center, and my mdpx is going to be 20, and my py is obviously going to be 5, and or else my px is going to be 20, basically 5. And now this is basically a breakpoint, right? This is for the, you can see it is like minimum width of like this. So it is basically for the laptop or the from the tablets to the desktop part, and otherwise it is going to be px of 5, right? Now I want to give it a basically, position of sticky from top 0 and left is going to be 0, and I'm going to give it a drop, basically you can backdrop, right? Backdrop filter or blur. Okay, backdrop filter blur is going to be backdrop filter, backdrop blur, I think it is okay. The backdrop filter is basically backdrop blur inside this thing, so I will be giving it a pixel. Save it. Now inside this thing there will be a link tag, and I have to import it from next link, and it is going to be a href of slash, and inside this thing I'm going to have basically my get text. Save it and give it a class of basically text is going to be obviously white, and basically the font part I want to give it a font of 800 and text of 3xl. Let's see, and looks nice to me. Now similarly I want to create another div, and inside this thing I'm going to have a button, and in this button I'm going to have a span element. One is GitHub and another is going to be an icon. So for that I will be using React icons. So burn add React icons, and at this point just open up the React icons. Then at there and then we are going to basically search for arrow. So let's see which is that arrow. I guess we can use this one, or let's see, we can use this one also. So just copy this thing, paste it right here, and I'm going to use this arrow at this point. Save this thing, come to this point, and just let's see. You can see we got our GitHub and that icon. Great. Now I want to give my button. Okay, this is basically going to be an anchor tag, right? So I just give an anchor tag, and let me tell you why I'm using an anchor tag right at this point. href, and this is basically going to be basically the same link that I have used right at this point. So I will be using that same link, this one, paste it, and the target is going to be underscore blank. For this target basically I'm using the anchor tag. You cannot use this target with the link tag, right? That's why I'm using it. And I want the referrer policy to be no referrer, right? Make sure you add this thing, or sometimes it gives error, right? Now what I will be doing is giving it a class name of flex item center, justify center, and background color is going to be white, and the text is going to be black. Let me see it. You can see this thing. Now text is going to be base, and font is going to be 600, let's say, and my px is going to be 5 and py is going to be 2, and rounded up MD. Save it, and you can see this thing, and I want to give it a gap of 1. Looks nice, right? Now what I want is I want to like make that line at this point. So for that I will be going to my layout.tsx. At this point I will be using my hr tag, giving it a class name of w dash let's say 90% with mx of auto. Save it, and we're getting that thing. I want it to be rounded of full with the border color of something like little bit less black. Save it. You can see this thing now, it looks nice. All right, now after this thing, let's go to like, let's make it responsive. So what I will be doing is okay, I will basically decreasing the size, right? So let's make this like this. I'll basically inspecting it and let's see, looks like nice to me. So let's basically add this part, right, the central text, right? So I will be going to my page.tsx here. Let's go for h2 tag, and I'm writing the same text as it is, build with Tesseract.js. Save it, and I will be using a span with the class name of something. Let's see. Here I want to make this Tesseract.js as basically a linear gradient sort of thing. So, but I don't remember how to do that, right? So what I will be doing is I will be searching a Google search, right? So let's Google it. Tailwind CSS linear gradient text, and let's open up this docs or like some blog, scroll down, and I guess this one. So I just copy this much of thing, this much of part, and I guess that should work. Come to this point, give it here, paste it, and you can see we're getting that basically the same linear gradient effect right at this point. Now I want to give it a p of 5, basically px of 5 and pt of 10 with a text of center and text of let's say 5 excel at md, or let's go for 6 excel and text of 3 excel normally basically in the phone, and the text is going to be white. No need to, because we have already added this at this point. I guess they should do the magic and save it, and let's see. Yep, but let's increase the font. Let's see the font weight. I want to make it like 800. Save it. Let's see, looks nice, right? Now we will be creating basically that box right at this point, basically this one, right? So let's do it. Now minimize this h2 tag. After this I will be using a div tag, giving it a class name of w dash full p dash 5, all is going to be like px of 20, which will be in md, and then px is going to be 5, and yeah, p is going to be 20 or p is going to be 5, right? Now I will be giving the background color, let's take something little like less black, this much, hope so, and minimum height of 50 vh, like this. So in Tailwind CSS, using basically the square brackets, you can use your custom custom values, right? Okay, now save this much of thing. Let's see at this point, and you can see the things. Great. But I'm not going to give this thing to this one. Just take everything from here. I will be bringing the flex of item center, justify center, and I will be using another div. I will be giving the class of w dash full with a p dash of 5 and this thing, right? Save it, and you can see this thing. Now I want basically rounded up excel. Save it. Okay, and now inside this thing I'm going to create another div. Let's add the same thing, that is a flex justify center item center, to this one also, and here I will be having a p tag, where I will be writing this thing, this one, copy it, paste it right here. Okay, copy, paste, right? And then there will be basically an icon. So there is the image icon, so I can find the icon from here. So it's basically image, and you can choose whatever you like, right? As I'm using this one this right now. Paste it right here, and I will be using this thing, using a span element, pasting this right here, save it, giving it a class of text dash 150 pixels, and everything's going to be like a class of text center and class of basically this one, the flex part, right? So just copy it and paste it right here, and let's see. And you can see this thing. So let's change the direction, flex call, right? Looks nice. Now what I will be doing is basically increase the size of this thing. Text is going to be 4 XL, and the font is going to be 700, and the text color is going to be little like less black. Let's increase this to this point. Looks nice. And I will be using this same color with this one also. The text is going to be this one, and you can see this thing. Now what I want to do is I want to make this thing, basically this div, a cursor of pointer, right? So like it will be like the mouse is going to be like you know, the pointer thing, right? Like this. Okay, now finally we have done this much of part. Now what I need to do is basically I need to open up basically the file selector part, right? Like this one. When you click on this thing, I want to open up this thing, so let's do it. For that we will be needing an input, so I will be using right here like an input at this point. Type is going to be file, and it's going to be a required thing, and it will be hidden. And basically I will be taking some on change things, and then basically unused state. So just for that I have to make this as use client, so that I can use my on change functions right at this point. So I'm writing here like on change is going to be basically basically a federal function which will be basically taking the event. It is basically react dot input change, so it's going to be change event of basically I think it is input change event, okay, change event, and it is basically HTML input element. And then here I will be taking basically I will be getting this event right now. And now I need to use a use state. Okay, so it's going to be const my image and set image. I think there's no need of using this thing. I basically need a use ref for right now, so it's going to be basically image input ref is going to be use ref, and it is basically going to be anything, and currently it is going to be null. Okay, not like this. As it is null, we will be changing that thing, so I will be make this thing as any. And I have to import basically the user app. So copy this thing and write like here, like import user app from React. And okay, the spelling of the client is wrong. CLIENT client. Hope so. Everything looks nice, right? Now I need to specify this ref to this one, like this. Now I'm getting the ref, right? Now what I want to do is whenever I click on this, basically on this div, basically this inside this div, I want to trigger, you know, I want to click on this input also, right? So I'll be creating a function const open browse, just like this, and it's going to be an whatever function, and it's going to be if basically my image input rep dot current if it exists, then what I want to do is I want to do my image input ref dot current dot click, or you can just use an option right here and you can just remove these things, save it, and that should work. If you remove this thing, it will basically it sometimes give you an error that like we don't know if it exists or not in that case. So just give it like this, right? If I remove this any, I think you can see it gives this error, right? Because it is null, right? Now I want to trigger this function when I click on basically this div. So on click, I want to trigger open browse. It's like this. Now let's try this on, refresh the page. Not this one, refresh it, and let's click on this thing, and it's working. Click again, and you can see this thing. We are getting it, right? Great. Okay. Now what I will be doing is basically on change. Right now I will be doing everything inside this on change. So I want to get basically that image URL. So it's going to be const URL, which is going to be a string. Is going to basically my URL dot, I think it is object, create object URL, right? And inside this thing I will be passing basically my it dot target dot files, and thus it is the value of the files, I guess. File is possibly null. So what we will be doing is, if it is not null, right, so I can use this thing, I guess. Let's see, I can use if condition. If basically my it.target.files, if this exists, then I want to do this thing. That's how it's going to work. Great. Now I'm getting my basically my URL. Now what I want to do is I want to basically pass this thing to my basically the Tesseract.js, right? The Tesseract part, to the worker of the Tesseract, right? So that it can convert my this image to a text, right? But let me see if it is working or not. So I will be using a console log to see the URL. Save it. Now let's come to this point. Open up your console, not this one, your console. Click on this thing, click on this, and you can see I'm getting my image path. Great. Now we have to create basically our Tesseract worker. So for that you can just go to this documentation through their readme, and you're going to find this thing. So just import this thing, and I will be creating a separate file for that. So inside the lib I will be creating a converter dot ts, and I will be importing this thing, and then I will be taking this function just like this. Okay, from this to this, copy it, and it's going to be const converter is equals to like this. So we get it. Now I want the image at this point, which is going to be a string, and I will be passing that image to this thing, and I will be returning my red dot text, this one. We're gonna write like const text is equals to this thing. Just return that text right here, save it. Now export default converter, save it. Now this is pretty much simple. We have finally created our basically the magical part of which will basically convert our image, which will read the image and get basically extract all the text from the image, right? Now we need to first just test this thing, right? So I've just written a console.log at this point. So it's going to be the text part. So right here text, simple. Now go to the page.tsx. I will be creating a function convert, const convert is going to be equals to a simple arrow function, and it's going to basically check for the URL, which is basically going to be string, and then if a URL, and what I want to do is I want to basically call the converter, and I will be passing the URL, right? And you can see I just imported the converter from the converter, right? Now let's check this thing. I will be just calling this function at this point, convert, and passing the URL, save it. Now let's try this thing. Come to this point, it is being refreshed. Refresh it again and open up your console. Click on this thing. Okay, and let's wait for some time, and we should be seeing some text at this point. So let's see. Yep, we got that text, right? You can see I'm getting the text at this point, so it is working, right? Now what we need to do is we need to create like some processing, like sort of like animations right at this point, and then we need to show this thing below at this point, right? And then we'll be creating our copy button, and then we will be also building the drag and drop option in this video, right? So let's get started with that and come to this point. Now what I will be doing is basically just remove this console log from here and come to this point and just remove the console log from here also. Great. Now I will be creating some, the use state, and it will be processing, and by default it's going to be false. It is basically going to be a boolean, just like that. And then I will be taking this processing, like this set processing, and then I will be writing here like just making this as async, or what I can do is the converter is going to be like dot, then I will be getting the txt, and then just like this. So what I can do is I can set basically this thing right here, set the processing as true, and I can write like await for this thing, and for that I have to make this an async function, and then if txt, then just log the txt, and then after that I will be doing my set processing as false again, just like that. Now if my processing is true, right, then I will be doing something, and if it is false, then I will be doing something, right? Now come to this point, taking this text, and it will write if processing, there will be some text. Okay, if it is true, then there will be some text, else there will be this thing, and here I will be writing like this is processing image, like this, and same thing is going to be like this. I will be giving the class name, and if it is processing, then what I will be doing is basically animate pulse else blank. Save it. Now let's see, let's make this as true, and you can see, and if it is false, then this is like this. Great. Now let's add some image, and processing image, you can see at this point right now. Now let's see, we should be getting once this is finished, we should be getting basically the text at this point, and you can see we are getting the text right at this point. Great. Now what I will be doing is I will be taking all this text, and I will be basically appending this thing to basically an array, right? So come to this point, just I will be using another use state, and it is going to be basically my texts, right? And it's basically going to be an empty array, and this is going to be an array of strings, right? Just like this. Now what I will be doing is inside this thing, I will be creating a copy of my texts like this, and then copy text dot push, and I will be pushing the txt inside this thing, and then basically set text is going to be my copy texts. In this way I will be updating my basically this texts, right? Great. Now we have done these things. Now we have to just create an UI to display this thing, right? Okay, so I will minimizing this thing, minimize this also. So after this I will be basically created another div. Inside this div I will be giving it a empty of 10, margin top of 10, px of, that is md px of 20, or it is going to be okay p of 20. Let's make it px of 20, or else px of 5, just like this, and inside this is going to be just like this, and inside this I'm going to have some divs with a class, not divs, basically some text areas, but first let's create a div, right? Inside the div will be having our text area. So it's going to be a div, and inside this div I will be having another div, and the p and a button. Now this p is going to show me the current basically the current time. So new date is going to be dot to utc string, just like this, and the button is going to be basically my copy button. Save it, and after this div I will be creating my text area. Remove these things from here, give it a class name or default value, and then the class name is going to be w-full, and mean height is going to be, I guess, around 30 vh, Okay, and the background is going to be similar to this one. Okay, copy this thing, paste it here, save it, and rounded up Excel just like this. Now you can see these things looking nice. Now I want to give them a space Y of 10, and I will be giving it a MY. Looks nice, right? Great. Okay, let me see where I have given basically the onClick function. Okay, we have given the onClick function on the wrong position. Just give it right here, save it. Now if I will click on this thing, then it is going to be open, right? Great. Now just make the copy button, and then we will be going to show all the text at this point, right? And at the last I will be showing you the drag and drop option, right? How you can do that thing, right? It's going to be very much like very easy part, right? Now give it a class. Our background is going to be white, and what I want is I want the text is going to be base on MD, or as the text is going to be SM, right? Great. Now rounded up going to be MD, and px of 5, py of 2. So I will be adding the hover effect to this right now, and the text is going to be I guess this is going to be this color. Copy this, paste it right here, save it, and let's see. Okay, not the text but the background color, and I will be adding a transition of all. Now what I'm going to do is I will need a text is going to basically a black one. Save it. Now let's see. Okay, the text, okay, the BG is going to be white but the text is going to be black. This one, save it, and let's see. It looks nice, and let's make it a little more like less gray. Looks nice. And what I want is I want to make this flex. So we're going to be flex w dash full item center justify between. Save it, and I will be giving it a MB of 5 just like this, and a PX of 5. Looks great. And I will be giving the P tag a class of text-xl with the font of 600. Save it. Looks nice to me. And now we'll be showing basically the text inside this thing, and let's remove the outline part. The outline is going to be none. Save it, not this one but to the text area, and here I have my text area. So looks nice to me. Now let's go, and the text is going to be white, or by default is white, right? Okay, so now where I have the card, so I can create another component for this card at this point, and it's going to be new file, and the folder name is going to be basically cards slash text card dot tsx rafce, and inside this thing I'm going to copy this part, basically this card, right? This one, okay, this much of part. Save it, and I can paste everything right here. Save it. Now what I can do is I can get that text card, and then after importing just save this thing, save it, come to this point, and you can see this thing. Now replicate this thing 4 times, and let's see, you can see these things, right, coming. Great. Now I will be using basically a map function for all the text that I have, dot map, and it's going to be like this. I will be using this option, right? So that I like if it exists, then it is going to work, right? So text.map, I will need basically the text and the index, and I'm going to return the text card, and I need to pass the index and the text. Now come to the text card. Here I'm going to get basically the text comma index, and it is going to be basically the text is basically a string, and the index is basically a number. Save it. And then here with the default value is going to be the text. Okay. And at this point, where is this thing? At this point, I will be showing basically my basically that the number like 1 2 3 4, the serial number. So it's going to be like this, and inside this thing use dollar and the curly brackets, and I want to show the index plus 1, just like this. Save it. Now go to this part, and let's add some of basically texts. Okay, processing image, and let's see if it is getting added to this point or not. Okay, we are getting this thing, and I need some padding inside this thing, and we are getting some. Okay, so the warning is for the key. Go to this point, and then I'm going to give this a key of okay, key of index, and then come to this point, and I will be giving it this one padding of 5. You can see this thing looks nice, and let's add some more images to this thing. Let's say I'm adding this one. Okay, hopefully this should work, and you can see we are getting it. Great. I need some spacing after this, so let's keep some space at this point, and we should get the space. Great. Now let's go for the copy button, and then we will be doing the drag and drop option, and then we are going to deploy this thing. So let's go for the copy button. So I will be create a const copy to clipboard, and there's going to be a normal function which is going to basically take the text, and it's going to be navigator dot clipboard dot write text, and then I'm going to pass the text at this point. Save it, and the text is basically going to be a string, just like this, and then I will be calling this function after clicking this button. Okay, and then I will be passing the text to this thing, just like this. Okay, now let's see it is working or not. Copy this thing, let's paste this thing. Yep, this is working. You can also paste it right here. Let's copy this thing and let's paste it here, and everything is working fine, right? Now what I will be doing is basically the drag and drop option, and then it's done, and pretty much done, right? Then we are going to deploy it. So come to this point, close this thing, go to the page.tsx, and basically we will be adding that thing to this step, right? So this I think I guess it is on drag. It's basically on drop. I will be taking the event, so just like this, and it's going to be I will be using the same function that I'm using right on the change. So copy this much apart, paste it right here, and it's going to be e dot data transfer, I guess, data transfer dot files. Hope so. Let's first see the URL. Click on this, Okay, using this image, processing the image, and I'm not getting any type of, basically no logs are being shown right here. Let's refresh the page and let's see. I think we have to basically prevent the default, so e dot prevent default. Okay, so the page don't get reloaded, and then files is going to be like this if it exists. So it will help like not to use this, basically this thing, right? So I can use that thing, if I can remove this thing, I can just write here like use the dot and then give it this thing. That should work. I can just remove these things from here. It is basically a TypeScript kind of thing, right? Because I know the basically I'm telling TypeScript that I know that it will exist, right? It exists, right? Now this is done. Now let's see the URL again. Okay, refresh the page. Click on this thing and drop this thing. Okay, now you can see this thing, it is opening on the new tab. Okay, so to prevent that thing, what we can do is we can use on drag over. We can just change this event. We can pass the event, which is basically any, and then like this, and just copy this thing and paste it here. Okay, this is what we have to do. Let's try it one more time. Okay, let's try to drag and drop again from the downloads. Let's drag and drop this thing, and what we are getting is basically e dot prevent dot is not a function. Prevent default. Okay, the spelling is incorrect. It is basically DEFAULT. Okay, make sure the spelling is correct. Reload the page. Okay, let's try to drag and drop an image. Let's try this one. We are getting the URL, right? Great. Now we can just go for this one and just comment this thing. Comment this one, save it, and hopefully this should work. Click on this thing and not this one. Let's try to drag and drop, right? Drag and drop, processing the image, and let's wait for it. Yep, we get the text, copy it and paste it right here, and it is working, right? So we have finally completed this thing, and let's make sure it is responsive. Yep, it is responsive, right? Pretty much great. Now what I will be doing is I will be deploying this to Vercel. So first I have to just push this into my GitHub, right? So okay, close the servers. Okay, and I will be doing it from this point. First I will be initializing this thing, so right here, like get in it. Okay, in it, and after that I will be adding, this is basically the initial commit, and commit the changes, publish the branch, and this is going to be basically my image to text, right? So I'm making this as private because I have already made another one as public, right? You can just refer that GitHub repo for your reference, right? So it is going to be a private repository. Hit enter, and let's give the time to it. Publishing to the GitHub, uploading the files, and open up in GitHub. Finally we got everything right here, and let's open up the Vercel. You can refer, you can see this, basically this repo for your reference, right? And add project, and I will be importing this image to text. Import this one, deploy, and wait for it. In a couple of seconds it's going to be deployed to Vercel, and then it's done. Right now, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and the best part is basically going to be your contribution. I will be giving you shout outs in my next video, and I will try to make like regular videos right now. Right, so let's see the building process taking some time. Let's give the time to it, and let's see. Finally it has been deployed, so continue to dashboard. Now let's see, visit the website, and you can see this thing right at this point. Click on this thing, upload the image, and wait for it. Like at first it may take some time, but once this is like going on, it is going to be becoming faster. Right, so you can see we're getting the text. Click on this again, this one, processing the image, and you can see all the text. Copy it, and it should be at this point. And one task that you have to do is basically you have to use React hot toast to create the toast at this point. Like if I click on this, there should be a toast just like this. You can see, let's click on this, just like this, and wait for it. And if I click on this, you can see I am getting a beautiful toast at this point. So it is what you have to explore and do it by yourself. So this will be a task for you to do, and once you do it, you make sure to deploy this, and then like share the link in the comment section. So thanks for watching this video, guys, and I will see you next time. So bye bye.